What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3. Can't believe it's actually episode 3. Silent Patriot. We're still working on the name. I think Bubbles and Bar Fights is still in the running. Not sure. Brought to you by the Shoots. No, just kidding. Got my lovely drink here. I'm Julian Hernandez. This is LaPrentiss. And so episode 3, pretty exciting. You know, episode 2, you got to listen to me smack my gums. It's now LaPrentiss's turn to really tell us about who he is, his whole story, how he came about to be the guy that you've seen in the past 2 episodes. So
certainly I didn't change my name.
But first and foremost, before we get into all that, I know you're rare in there, but again, this is solely our opinion. None of the military, nobody from any political view. Like, this is just two good dudes talking and hoping to basically help and serve the veteran community, which there's a ton of things out there. And we're just trying to help bring some knowledge and help you guys, help all of you, men, women, whatever you are, to tap into your potential and become the best version of yourself. So without further ado, the man of the hour, the man, the myth, the legend, LaPrentiss. Demand.
All righty, man. That's a tough intro to go with, man. So what's going on, y'all? I'm LaPrentiss Demand. And you probably saw it earlier. Maybe you saw it earlier, maybe you didn't. But I just changed my name there. And that's just for reasons for I guess connecting with the cosmos, right? So that's a little crazy side note that will come back.
Oh, stop. Listen, that's just because of all the crazy people, because we got groupies. No, I'm just kidding. No, we don't want any of y'all. If you guys want to connect with us, obviously, we'll share our Facebook and all of that good stuff. But yeah, it's kind of I think it's a fun little thing. And honestly, like, we don't know who you guys are. So, we don't want you guys showing up at our door until we get to know you guys, which we would love to get to know you guys. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off again, but go ahead, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, because you're not doing anything anyway. Might as well do it. So, and if you're here, you're actually kind of like listening to us talk. So, again, without further ado,
episode 3,
right? Yeah, episode 3, right?
Third one. No, I'm gonna give him 3 tries. So this is gonna be your 3rd try. All right. So here we go. I'm LaPrentiss Sampson. I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas. So just a little bit about me. And then around the age of 7, like the day after my mom's birthday, she passed away. And so I woke up, got to watch all the cartoons, which is rare. And I tapped her on the shoulder because it was time to go to school, and she was cold. She wasn't moving. And so I looked over to our phone, and there's this big old sticker on there, red and white, said, "If an emergency, call 911." So I did that. And she passed away from lung cancer, is what I was told. So since then, my sister, who was married, of course, she's married to my brother-in-law. She came in from Hawaii, and she's like, "Yo, you're mine. I'm taking you away." So I spent time living with them, my sister, my brother-in-law, and they had 2 boys. So I got to live that life in Hawaii for a little bit. Don't remember too much about it. It was pretty crazy. The little bit that I was able to do. But the whole time I was there, and throughout our relationship, things like felt off to me. Like I didn't feel okay. I didn't feel safe. My sister, I felt, definitely wanted me in the house, but I didn't feel like my brother-in-law did so much. So there was times throughout the years where he would go to Saudi Arabia, and then we would go home to Arkansas, right? And I would spend time with her, with family and everyone in Arkansas. And then when he come back, we would come back to California, And so we've been to 29 Palms, we've been to Camp Pendleton and stuff like that. And over those years, I got to a place where I felt like I was being mistreated. Like, so it was more like a psychological abuse, physical abuse a little bit, just because he was a Marine, and so he was short too, like a really short guy, right? So people gave him crap, and then he would take that crap out, not on his sons, I felt, but I felt like he was taking it out on me. So that's how I felt. I don't feel that way now, but at the time, that's what I was feeling. And so going through high school and all that type of stuff, I kind of was a shell. I was really quiet, didn't really interact with a lot of people. Didn't do the homework. Like, that was a big thing. And it took me realizing that, hey, if I don't do the homework, if I don't graduate high school, I'm gonna be stuck in this situation that I already don't like, right? So junior, senior years, I picked up all my grades. I started taking classes after school during the summer to try to make up for all these grades that I messed up on, that was just going straight F's on. And so I was able to graduate.
Wait a second. Wait, I gotta cut you off here. So
Yeah.
again, I mean, it's just wow. That's a lot to go through at age 7, right? Like, you know, your mom dying, and all that. Like, how did that, like, did that affect you in any kind of way, or was it just because you were young? You know what I mean? Like, because at 7, I'm assuming it's never happened to me. I can't, but like, how did you deal with that? You know what I mean? Like, how did you even begin to process that at age 7? You know?
Yeah. So I don't think, so I do remember things I did as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I used to run away from home a lot. And I would take money out of my mom's purse. Like, she would sleep and I would take money out of her purse and like go off to baseball games and stuff. And no one back then in 1980s, no one questioned how you got the money. If you got the money, it's because someone, so your parents gave it to you or whatever. So I used to do a lot of that type of stuff, like just going off and being an adventurer. Besides that and the cartoons and stuff, I don't think, like, I never really had, I don't know if I just blocked it out. I think that's what ultimately happened, because I don't remember too much after that besides just going to Hawaii. There was a party, or I guess I don't know if it was a party, but people, we got together at the house, family that I've never seen before. And then after that, my sister, she picked me up and took me to Hawaii. So, and then from there, I lived with them, picked up on wrestling. WWF became back in the day, it was called WWF, right? So that was definitely the thing we were watching all the time. And then I got filled with so many other things that I never really got to dwell on it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like, I wanted, and thank you for sharing that part, because that's a very big, it's a big deal for a 7-year-old to, you know what I mean, and then having to make that transition. It's hard for anybody, and like, even as a teenager, I'm not trying. I don't want to put words in your mouth or thoughts or anything, but I'm sure, like, as a teenager, that was still really hard, and like, it probably, me guessing, it probably at least affected you for a little while, and it still might. I don't know, but
Yeah. So to be honest, I think it was just something that was just like maybe buried in the back of my mind. Like, it wasn't at the forefront. It wasn't something I was like waking up and being like, where's my, like, I wasn't doing any of that.
Okay.
So I really think I blocked it out for a long time. And I was just dealing with my brother-in-law, and the way that I felt I was being treated at the time,
Okay. So all right. So you're moving around a lot. Well, at least your brother-in-law's in the Marines and whatnot. So, and so after high school, where did you end up going? Like, did you college? What, you know what I mean? Like, what did you end up doing after that?
Yeah. So after high school, I took a year and I was still living there. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, right? I did automotives when I was in high school. My sister won't let me play football. She's like, because you don't get the grades. I'm like, I'll get the grades if you let me play football. So like we kept going back and forth like that. The coach wanted me to play and everything. But I ended up not doing any of the football stuff. So I had automotives. I was in the drama. So I was like, you know what? I could be an actor. I would love acting. Like I would love to be an actor. I think I'd be great. But fear kicked in, the fear of how good of an actor do you I gotta be a pretty good actor in a film, right? So a lot of things came up there, going through, once I started high school, I really started picking up jobs too. So I was very self-sufficient, I was working for Los Angeles Times, throwing newspapers, which was awesome. Got a job at Burger King. And then while my last year of high school, I was working at Popeye. And the owner was considering opening up another store, and he wanted me to help him run it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So like I started learning everything. I started to pick up on all the different things that was happening there. But at the same time, this was in Oceanside, California, by the way. At the same time, I did not like where I was living. Didn't like my brother-in-law there, didn't like the fact that I was following their rules, or I had to abide by their rules, be in at a certain time, do this at a certain time, give money for smoking and gambling and different, like I had to give my money like that. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like I shouldn't have to do that, So on the other side, working at Popeyes, while great things were happening, bad things were happening too. We were selling weed and stuff out the back door. So we were making, yep. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's a little nuts. Like, how do you even ask that?
Yeah, so I was like, man, you know what? I want to get out of here. I need to, if I could just go somewhere where I can have my own roof over my head and just be able to travel. Like, I would love to go to Japan because in Oceanside, like all the Asian girls are there and stuff. I'm like, man, let me just go to Japan. Let me find out where all are coming from. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should join the military. Not the Marines, because my brother-in-law ruined that for me. But you know what? Let me see what people have to offer. And so I went to the Air Force recruiter. I went to like, they all had like rooms next to each other on like this little strip. Yep. So I ended up chatting with the Air Force recruiter ultimately. And then he took that as VAP test. I scored really high. They wanted to give me a $6,000 sign-on bonus. So that's pretty cool. And I was just like, man, I don't know, man. I love the chicken that I'm, Popeyes thing I'm doing. He's like, what? Man, there is a Popeyes on every Air Force base. You are not going to miss it. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, man, there's a Popeyes on every Air Force base. So I'm like, get out of here. I'm like,
I could do chicken in the Air Force?
I'm like, that's a win-win. Right. At the time, I was like, my favorite color is blue. I'm like, Air Force is blue. Like, I'm looking at all these like things. I'm like, this is a sign, right? Yeah. So they have us, and being in the military, they teach you to share your Air Force story. And so every time I share it, I tell them it's for 3 reasons. One is because I wanted to get away from my sister and my brother-in-law, mainly my brother-in-law. And I wanted to live my own life where I didn't have to follow anyone's rules, which doesn't make sense because I joined the military and guess what? Street rules. Right. So horrible idea. The second one was I wanted to travel the world. Like I really wanted to check out Japan. I wanted to see some places that a lot of my family and other people didn't get the chance to see. And then third was, and it's still the deal, is the fact that there's a Popeyes on every Air Force. I'm like, all right.
I know there wasn't any Popeyes on any Marine Corps bases I was on. So, I mean, that's
So I found out that this recruiter lied to me. There's not a Popeyes.
I'm about to say.
There's not a Popeyes at the base I'm at now. Yes, I am currently still in, and there's not a Popeyes. There's one close, but there's not a Popeyes on the base.
How close? Well, if you got to think about it, it's too far.
15 minutes away. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too far.
It is too far. Yeah.
That's cool, man. So all right. So you did mention that. Um, you did mention that like you you wanted to basically be your own person. I mean, that's basically what I took out of it. You wanted to be your own
Mhm.
person, and I think that's why a lot of people join. You know, and like that's why I joined. I actually got told I I couldn't do it. I wouldn't survive, and I'm like, I'll show you, right?
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, so you joined, and so what do you do now? Like, what is your job in the Air Force?
So I work in maintenance. It's known as aerospace ground equipment. So age, age mechanic is pretty much what that is.
Okay,
But I'm not in the position of where I actually physically do the work anymore. So I've been
gotcha.
in quite a bit of time, and that's allowed me to do a lot of different things. A lot of ups and a lot of downs.
I bet. I bet. I mean, like, if it's well, it's nothing like the Marine Corps, I'm sure. But
Nah.
um, listen, man, like Marines are just Marines. That's just what we are, And Air Force is just Air Force. That's the way I say. Like my brother's in the Army, so and my dad, who's my stepdad, is in the Navy. So there's a lot of jostling around of who's
Yeah.
better and whatnot. So, but
Yep.
that's I always find it funny though, like there seems to always be a central theme in everybody joining, right? And and it's just like we want to be our own person. We
Hmm.
want to live our lives and more than than our current situation, And for you, like knowing now what you kind of went through before in your past to, I'm sure there was obstacles in there before you
Yeah.
joined, right? And then going from there to joining the Air Force and to whatever rank or whatever, however many years you have, like um I'm sure that like you've changed. And I'm just gonna ask you straight up, like like what are some of the biggest changes, like that you dealt like from the time that you joined to now, like how do you think what are some of the biggest changes to who you are, like have your values changed, has your outlook on life changed, as I don't know how long you've been in, but like I'm sure you've given some thought to eventually leaving and retiring from the military, like what is that, like what are you going to take away basically, you know what I mean? How have you changed and what are you going to take away, um, from your military service?
A lot of stuff has happened. Just because I mean I was 19, and just going through a lot has changed. So um, in the beginning, I found out a little bit. I found some things that I kept hidden away that I loved. Like I loved dancing. Like dancing was like a huge thing for me.
Okay.
um, so that's one of the things I kind of picked back up again. At my first base, and a lot of things happened there because I was very um, I love people. I love connecting with people and stuff like that. So at my first base, I was stationed at Little Rock. Ton of people there.
Mhm.
Got to hang out with a lot of people. Picked up dance again. Enjoyed hanging out with everyone until that first PCS. That first PCS, where I had to go to. Actually, I had people leaving to go to other bases, and that like brought me to tears. Because I hated the fact that I was meeting all these people, these great people, and they were leaving, like they're going to another base and stuff like that. Like that kept bringing me to tears, and so that forced me to like I kind of tuck myself in again, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to make friends with anyone. I mean, I'll keep a business relationship with them, yes sir, no sir, and keep it that way. But I'm not going to get close to people because I'm going to PCS and I'm not going to see this person again. I'm going to keep going through this pain. Right. So that's one of the things I started doing initially. Um, and let's see, that's kind of how I started at my first base. And on top of that, I had a girlfriend, right? So I was going through the relationship games that was happening. So I had because I was young, right? And in the club and all that stuff.
Yep.
All the older women were coming after me. And so they broke me in, I guess, per se, right?
Wow.
Yep. And they crushed me and hurt me even more. So they turned me to a jerk. They turned me, having the friends turned me, them PCS and leaving made me a little cold. Going through the relationships that were not anything real turned me cold. So I went to Korea, which is not the best place because you drink there, right? So I picked up alcohol. And on top of all that, and all the girls that were out there, kind of made me become like the bad guy. I became the bad guy. I was a nice guy at first, and I was like, when I was in those relationships, I would make cards. Like I would make like a birthday card, or I'd make a Valentine's Day thing. I didn't buy stuff from the store. I was a romantic guy.
Yeah.
And it all, after a while, that all that got destroyed, per se,
Yeah. Well, the military changes you like that. You know what I mean? Like, and I think, kind of like what you're saying, it's so how do I put this? Reminiscent of kind of like what I went through. Not exactly everything, right? Not where we don't have the same experiences, but like, I was growing up kind of just, like growing up, I was very optimistic. I was quiet, but optimistic about everything. I could find the positive, the joy in everything, I never knew why everybody was so pissed off all the time. Which is why, like, the sun's shining, you're breathing. Come on, like, it's a great day, right? And then the Marine Corps, I was just a big smack in my face. And I realized how I was being sheltered. But the point of it is that I became a jerk, and I became, for lack of a better term, asshole, and didn't care about anything or anyone. And so I know that very well. But how did you, so you went through all those changes, but how did you what changed for you? What brought the LaPrentiss, the myth, the man, the myth,
let me get there. Let me get there. I told you this could be a long 3 hour, or I can make it. It's not a 3 hour though. But
no, we're not going 3 hours, bro. I got stuff to do. And I'm pretty sure they got stuff to do.
Yep, absolutely. No. But so after Korea, I ended up going to Japan. And Japan was when I started paying attention to what happened in tech school. Because in tech school, we had an instructor, and he taught us, like, we all went to break and came back, and he was reading this book. Okay. And even after we were joking around in the classroom, like, it was still like 20 minutes after break was over. And we're like, hey, are you, like, we're concerned, are you gonna teach us? Like, teach us? And then someone asked the question, what are you reading? What is it about? And he stopped teaching to teach us the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Okay.
And so if you don't know what that book is, it gives you financial literacy. It teaches you the basics of financial literacy. And during the time at the class, I didn't care for it. Like, I was just like, whatever, teach the class so we can move on, right? And when I went to check my credit report, I found out that I had cell phone bills, telephone, freaking all these cable bills and stuff in my name that my family put in my name while I was growing up and living with them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I cleared all that out, and I was like, man, I need to learn how to make money. I want to learn how to control my finances so none of this stuff happens, right? So I catch up in Japan. I'm like, all right, cool. Let me learn some skills. And I think reading the book, he talks about real estate. And he's talking about, that's one of his favorite ways of making income, right? And I was like, man, that's scary though. That's a lot of money to put up. So let me do virtual real estate. Let me learn how to build websites. So I learned how to build a website, and I was like, you got to solve a problem, right? So the first problem I tried to solve was the one that I actually had. And that was my computer would just do this blue screen of death. So I need a good registry cleaner. So I followed this course. Follow this course on how to build a website, and I decided to review all these registry cleaners, right? And the cool thing about it is that they give you an affiliate link. So when people will download a product, they'll try it, and then once they see all the problems they got on their computer, they will order it. And when they order it, I get a commission, right?
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, so this one I think is the best, and these other ones, and so I'm giving like honest reviews. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing this. I'm not paying attention. I'm just doing one after another, giving my reviews. And I was like, you know what? Let me see after like 3 weeks. Let me see what's going on. Let me check my account. And I had about $8,000 in my account, and I was making $400 a day.
Wow.
I was like, oh shoot, this is working too good. I expected this right now. I wasn't ready. So I was on course to make $198,000.
Wow.
And I was like, oh crap. What else did they say in the book? What do I do now? They didn't mention this part in the book. What do I do?
Yeah. Yep. Where's part 2?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that is in the book, though, is that how we get taxed, right? So as an employee, we get paid, they take taxes, and we get what's left over.
Yep.
Have a business, you get paid, you spend, and you get taxed on what's left over. So I was like, I need to spend this or I'm gonna get taxed. Lesson number 1 is about to come up right now. So I was like, man, what do I spend all this money on? And it's still coming in. So I hire some copywriters. These are people who write content for you, right? And I had them, hey, I'm gonna give you this money, write something better than what I wrote so more money can come in and I can just rinse and repeat that. Here, write something better, I'll give you more money, and that type of thing. I didn't save my work. And I had these sales guys try to write something that I genuinely wrote. And so when I put in their stuff and took away mine, sales flatlined, like nothing.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my God, what'd y'all do? I thought you guys were great. You guys are professionals. I paid you like $8,000 to do this.
Yeah.
And this is like, I did better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Let me fix it. Let me try to fix this. Let me fix it. So I try to go back in and write what I think, and it still doesn't work. And the reason why is because when I first wrote, I was genuine. I was honest. I was real. And people saw that. The second time I tried to write was from a money mindset of like, hey, I want money. So I started sounding like those jerks I just paid. And so I couldn't build that back again. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it.
Yeah. God, that's got to be rough. I mean, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, so that was that was the first lesson I learned. And then another thing happened that kind of shaped me. So I continued down that path of learning finances. But in Japan, like I was amazing. Like, so that business was going great outside of that little thing that happened there. The business was going great. Girls loved me. Work was amazing. And my head got super big. Like I was really feeling invincible, untouchable even, to the point of where at work, I would do, like I could do, like I knew the job, I do it well. And I would go out and party. Everybody knew me because I was dancing, right? I was like literally the dance machine. All the ladies go, oh my gosh, she's amazing, right? And then I would drink that I got from Korea, and then that I picked up from Korea. And then occasionally, normally I would walk home. Like there's no way I'm drinking and driving. I would walk home sometimes in the snow. But after a while, oh, I'm not drunk.
I'm good. Yep.
Yeah, let me just go ahead and take this. I'll go ahead and drive, and things will be all right, And I kept doing that. And it actually got to the point of where the fatal night happened, of where I was working a night shift. I got my guys out of work early, told people I'd be at the club at this time, had my clothes with me, ready to go, like ready. So take, get ready to go out there, go out, have a good time. And then I decided to drive back home, and I take a different route. I don't take the normal route that I take. I decide I miss my turn. I go down a hill and have to make a left. I make a left, and then a right, and then a left, and then I'm at my house. When I make that left, I fall asleep at the wheel. And I wake up upside down.
Oh, wow.
My drunk ass trying to push the car, trying to flip it over.
Yeah, see, you got a little bit of Marine in you. It's all good.
So
No.
yeah, man, that was like if you let your head get too big, man, boop, you're gonna pop it. So and I hated myself for it because I had friends who depended on me, and there was so many times where we're always rotating, and I'm the DD for them, and vice versa. And I didn't ask them for a ride. I didn't ask them for a call. I didn't bother anyone. I didn't. And so many opportunities came up, and I didn't take any of them because my head was just too big. Just because I'll be fine, I'll be all right. I've done this before. So I ended up getting a DUI, and I just hated myself for like a long time. I stopped drinking, and I started working towards trying to rehabilitate myself because deep down I felt like crap, and I was like, man, I know I'm out of the military. I'm out. There's no way they're gonna let me in. People are getting DUIs every weekend, and they're getting kicked out.
Yep.
There's no way I'm staying in.
Yep.
But because I was shit hot with work, and no one would ever expect this to come out of me, by the way. They I'm the last person people would ever expect to have get a DUI, by the way. Mm-hmm. So my supervision, they fought for me.
Wow.
They fought for me because I was like a hard charger, hard worker. Everybody loved me. There's no and yeah. So and I was shocked that I was able to stay in.
That is an amazing story, considering the fact that, I know a few friends of mine who got DUIs, who got in accidents, and nobody got hurt, some property damage obviously, but they got kicked out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's somebody was looking out for you. For one, I'm glad that obviously nobody else got hurt, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the problem with that's a big thing about the military, is that they're so good at making you think you're invincible. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do when whether it's in the Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, wherever. Mm-hmm. You got, when you charge that hill, they when you go through boot camp, and they tell you're supposed to have that big head, and nothing is impossible, right? Well, you're going to accomplish the mission 100% of the time, and come out, and everything's gonna be great. And then life has a way, or if you're religious, God or whatever, something has a way of just basically saying, "Yep, you're a little too high. I'm gonna knock you down a little bit, bring you back down to reality, and come and play with the peasants for a little bit."
Yeah.
And yeah, man. I mean, I think even you don't have to be in the military for that to happen.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
So that happened. So anyway, so you got into this thing. Your supervision, your higher ups fought for you. So was that kind of like a turning point in your career? I guess I would say. Would you say that would be, a big turning point where you kind of? I'm assuming you kind of. How do you say this? You started trying to find the old demand again.
Yeah, that's when I started trying to after that happened, I started really looking at who am I and who do I want to be. I started taking different courses, so I'm huge. One of the things I'm huge on that kind of got back into was knowledge, right? So I was huge on trying to find out how to be the best version of myself. And so I started improving the way I ate, started working out more.
No Popeyes every day?
no. I was doing Popeyes every day. But in my head, I was like, man, if I just stay in shape and keep working out, which is kind of how I look at things now. If I stay in shape and keep working out, I burn off the calories to where I eat whatever I want. That's how I want to eat these things. It's not like I don't eat.
My man. That's what I tell everybody. They're like, man, you eat chips and have a drink of soda every day. I'm like, yeah, but you don't see me drink a gallon of water every day and work out every day either. So yeah,
Yeah, so I made some adjustments, some changes, started doing Simpleology, and it's the simple science of getting what you want. So that was a course that I started taking there. That's pretty cool. And somewhere along the way, I noticed that I reminded myself, because there's this thing that I completely left out, and that is I have sickle cell anemia.
Okay.
I learned this in basic training, and they almost got kicked out from the Air Force for having that. I had to fight to stay in. And so over the years, some other things were happening. That was my skin. My skin was peeling, cracking, and bleeding. And they say black don't crack, and I was cracking. I'm telling you right now. Yeah, so I started paying attention more to what I was eating. And I was like, man, I got to drink a ton of water because I have this sickle cell. I need to pay attention, you know?
Yep.
Started building myself up a little bit more. And I started trying different online things to try to build an income, because as I was going through the career, people were hitting 20 years and they were just like, I'm about to be retired. I'm about to live the good life.
Yeah.
This retirement pay is going to cover me. It's going to cover me. It's going to cover my family. We're going to do all these things. And I'm just talking to them. I'm like, yo, what are you about to do? They're like, oh, I'm about to travel. I'm about to go do this and that and the other. And I would keep up with them. And that's not what happened. Life would happen, emergencies would come up, and they find out that the retirement pay that they have, it's not enough. And they end up working a job. They end up doing something to where that golden check that they're getting is not enough. So I'm like, yo, that's not going to be me. So I need to figure this out. Okay. That $40 a day thing sucks that I messed that up, but let's see what I can do to get it back. Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Continue, please.
Yeah. So I look back and reanalyzed the $198,000 a year mistake. And I was like, all right, that happened because I was trying to sell people on stuff, and I wasn't genuinely caring about them. You know what I'm saying? It has to be, so I'm like, man, if I'm gonna do something, it has to be something I genuinely care about, that I know works, because I tried selling stuff that I didn't know if it worked or not. And I found out the hard way that it didn't work. And it had to be something that I genuinely believed in, right? So I'm going through that journey, and I just still drinking this water and stuff and everything. And I come to a point where I get to Beale Air Force Base, and I have this issue that comes up. It's plantar fasciitis. And I'm like, yo, I can't have that.
I know exactly what that is.
That is when I'm running. Like
it's
painful. I gotta march, I gotta run, I gotta do all these things on my feet, and you're telling me I can't do any of that right now?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. So talk to the doctor. Doctor's like, yeah, I can get you some inserts. It's gonna take 3 months. I'm like, no, I need something now. And I'm not one to go to the doctor. I'm the one that looks up stuff for myself. All that. And so while that was happening, I was taking a grief recovery course. So that brought back my character. That opened up my shell. So that shell that I had where I was closed off to everybody, that helped me open up, because I took care of some grief issues from all those relationships I was in and how I felt about my brother-in-law and my family. So that opened me up way more. And then on Facebook, someone did this post, and they were saying, hey, have you ever considered the quality of the water that you're drinking? Now, when they said this, I had next to me a gallon of the Crystal Geyser, like empty, because I've been drinking that every day, and I was right at the end of it, at the end of the day. And I was like, why is my mouth dry? Like, why? Yeah. I just drank this. Like, maybe this person has a point, right? So I messaged him on Facebook. I'm like, hey, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, I have this water here that's amazing. It's gonna that it does all this stuff. And I'm like, well, how much is it? He's like, oh, this isn't in stores. He's like, this is expensive though. I'm like, well, he's like, you want to buy it? I'm like, I want to try it. Can I try it first?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, man, where are you at? I'm like, I'm in California. He's like, well, I'm in Texas. I'm like, well, ship some to me.
Yeah.
He's like, no, that's not how it works, man. It doesn't last that long. It has a shelf life. I'm like, all right, well, let me see if I can get online and find someone who has this water. So I spend a week or so trying to find someone, and everybody is like way out in Southern California. Like, I'm like, man, that's a drive to get some
I
water,
might as
right?
well go to
That's a ton
Texas.
of water, right? And there were some people a little bit closer. And right when I was about to give up, this lady, she messaged me back and she was like, hey, I heard you're looking for some water. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in the military, right? So that way she doesn't think I'm a creep, right?
Yeah, yep.
Hey, I'm in the military. I got plantar fasciitis. I'm curious about this water. I have sickle cell. So she's like, I'm 3 hours away from you, but I'm not driving to you. And I'm not expecting you to drive to me. So let's meet halfway. So I met her halfway, and she proceeds to give me this demonstration of how crappy my water is. um, and so I take my Crystal Geyser, and I take my girlfriend's water with me, which was Nestle Pure Life. And I'm excited, like when I do this demo, because I share with her how crappy this water is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like
Yeah.
laughing ecstatic, like beaming from ear to ear. So I get this water, I try it, it's amazing. And then I just started sharing it with people because I feel like if anyone's went through what I've been through, as far as inflammation and stuff goes, that this is going to help people. And the thing is, I didn't know that there was a business behind it.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I didn't know that. Like I literally got it for the health. And so since then, I've been kind of sharing my journey as physical fitness and the lessons I've been picking up along the way from all these books and things I'm reading. And I'm still working towards getting out of the military. And I believe I found what I need in order to be able to get out and truly retire and do what I love.
That water, huh? All that from water. That's insane. No, that's awesome, dude. And so like really, I mean, like I think that's the, you know, your story is amazing first and foremost. So I appreciate you sharing that. What I kind of got out of it, and for those who are still paying attention, just kidding, just kidding. No, for those people who are paying attention, like honestly, like it's about through your journey in the military, through your journey growing up, and as your character evolved, your personality evolved, and all the changes and challenges you had to go through, you know, for those people still in the military, you know, it really like you are afforded this opportunity while you're in the military to really set yourself up, right, for beyond the military. And I think, correct me, well, I shouldn't, you don't need to really correct me. I think I'm going to be a spot on with this is that the military gives you so many things, all the things that like the leadership, the basically learning under pressure, trial by fire, being able to multitask under fire, literally and figuratively under fire, like that all translates to a business, and it all translates to a lot of leadership positions in companies if that's the way that they choose to go. But sitting here saying that you're going to be good, because you've spent 20 to 25 to 30 years in the military, and you're going to get this golden check, like you put it. Hey man, life still happens, right? Like just because you got out of the military and you serve your time doesn't mean that says, oh, you've served your life. Isn't going to sit there and say, oh, you served your time, you did your thing, you've had your share of hardships, you're done. Like you're going to live the good life. For some people it works out, I think. But for a lot of people, I don't think so. It's just life happens. And
Especially with stuff going on nowadays.
what's that? I'm
I
sorry.
said, especially with the way things are going nowadays.
Oh yes, God, good Lord, yes. I mean, with COVID and everything, you're not guaranteed a job. So while you're out, while you're still in, I'm out. And it's, as a veteran, I like to think I'm on this plateau where I can, have an easier time getting hired. But really, like, there's a ton of veterans that are potentially out of a job right now. There's a ton of civilians out of a job right now because of the whole COVID-19 thing, and you're not guaranteed anything. So, and it's just not magically going to come to you just because you say you have an honorable discharge from the military. You know, there's a ton of veterans out there. There's a ton of young veterans out there who are trying to strive, um, and better their lives out of whether they when they got out, just like you are. You know, and you still got to set yourself apart. You know, and really keying in on, and I love that you're doing this now. You know, and it takes, I mean, anybody who's in the military, who was or is in the military, knows there's some downtime, but when it's go time, there's you know, it's pedal to the metal. You know, you don't really have time to yourself, and so you have to have the eternal discipline to sit there and do and create a, really put some forethought and some work into building something for after retirement.
Mm-hmm.
um, it just I guess it's just amazing to see that, um, for someone like you to have so many challenges, and everything you've gone through, to be able to bring yourself back, you know, um, from what you became to back to who you were and who you are at your core, um, and turn it into a positive experience. Really, turn it into something where you you're you became the person you were before, but now you're even better because now you're doing the, you know, you're doing the you're reading books, you're trying to better yourself in a lot of ways that the military doesn't. You know, the military does a great job, but the military doesn't focus on,
Mm-hmm.
because the military is the military. The military is not a business, and some would argue that it is, but that's not the point. The point of it is that, you know, the military doesn't sit there, does offer financial classes, but they don't force you to do it. You know, they don't teach you a lot about credit. They don't teach you, they tell you, people tell you, like, don't go out there and go buy a Mustang because now you're making $1,000 a month. Like, don't, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but people still do it, right? um and so that's really awesome, man. And so, like, this how did you, I mean, I guess I wanted to ask you, like, for somebody in the military, right now, like, what would you tell somebody, I don't know, 25, 19, 18, whatever, however many years old, like, um who might not be thinking that this is you know, who has that golden opportunity to, you know, they have a job, obviously they're in the military, but, you
Mm-hmm.
know, what would you tell them to do right now to prepare themselves for, you know, whether they stay in 20 years or 4 years? You know, what would your biggest piece of advice to them?
I would say start gaining some skills. That is the main thing. Like I'm not talking about the skills that the things that you learn in tech school or the school that for your job. I'm talking about skills that can be applied anywhere. So for me, I gained quite a few skills. I learned how to build websites, for example. That's a skill that I can take with me and I can use that to further develop myself. I attended Toastmasters. Public speaking is huge. In order to sell, you have to be able to, or just sell in general, you have to be able to effectively communicate. And the number one person you're always selling is yourself, right? So, um, in order to get that job, you have to tell yourself and believe that you can even do it. And so, what you're saying to yourself, what you're telling yourself, all that stuff matters. And so, being able to effectively communicate what you're trying to say to help someone else see what you're seeing is vital. So, I highly recommend you take a Toastmasters class and then you work on the skills of your inner game, like the thoughts you tell yourself. And then, yeah, I would say focus on those skills to better yourself and just constantly ask yourself, what do you want to do next? And make sure you're taking steps towards getting there. Um, the 3 steps that I refer to often in that Simpleology course is you find your target, you keep it in your sights, and you hit it until you hit it. So there's gonna be times where you're trying for something, you're gonna miss, you're gonna fall short, you get up, you aim at it again, you look at the things that you gotta do to adjust, and you go for it again until you get it, until you're hitting it repeatedly. So that's how I've been doing everything as far as fitness goes. As far as Toastmasters, I'm constantly competing because that's just part of my drive. to better myself. And I would say gain some skills. So no matter what happens, whether you get booted out, whether we have to get out for whatever reason, or you make it the full time, you have some skills that could take you beyond that job that you currently have.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I 100% agree with that, because if you're in the military, there's probably a 99% chance that you're a type A personality, right? And so we're type A, we're go-getters, we're risk takers, we're leaders, and the military just cultured that, just nurtured it, and brought the best out of it, out of you, out of that. So yeah, like, I love how you put that, hit the target. If you don't hit it, keep shooting, because at the end of the day, again, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And there's so much more in you, because you're so much more than your service, whether you're in or not. You're so much more than that. And from somebody who's a veteran now, and then somebody who's in the military currently, like, you have so much to offer, but it's not good enough to have the leadership, the discipline, and all. That's not good enough. Like you said, it's having a skill to say, hey, I can fix computers, hey, I can build this, hey, how, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, a job interview is just basically, a job is a business transaction in itself, right? You're selling yourself in the job interview, but when you're performing the job, you are giving a service to that company, and they are paying you for that service, whatever it may be, right? If you go in, yes, you might have an honorable discharge, you might have done this job in the military, but if you're not good at it, see, the military won't kick you out, but a regular company, you know what I mean? Like, a regular company be like, nope, see you, buddy. And you might get chances, but at the end of the day, you're only hurting yourself. So
the way I see it, man, is you want to be of value. So just think about any person that you look up to. They are someone of value. So if you look up to Tom Brady, he is a valuable person. They say he's worth so much, right? But he's worth a lot more. And it's because of the value he brings to his team. If you look at Oprah Winfrey, she is of tons of value. And it's because of how she's able to move millions and millions of people. Like, so if you want to be anything, be a person of value, gain the skills that allows you to be able to serve others. So I know we're in the military, and that's one of the best things is we serve, right? But we normally join for selfish, personal reasons, right? But you stay in long enough, that's going to end up changing, because you're going to have to start taking care of someone else other than yourself. And that's the whole reason why we're here, is to see how much value we can give and serve to other people. And the sooner you get that going and choose how you want to do it, because when you find your why and how you want to do it, guess what? It's not work. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah,
you're like, I can do this all day, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's how we ended up on a YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, I took Toastmasters, public speaking. I can talk all day. Why? Because I enjoy it. I enjoy giving value, sharing with people. And he doesn't want this to be a 3-hour, I can make it a 3-hour.
Oh, we're good. Let's go. So he took Toastmasters, right? I just do this. And actually you suggested it, but no, and that's no, like, to kind of circle back to, like, so you talked about the military, like the veteran side. One of the hardest things, at least for myself, was that in the military you have a purpose, you have your why, right? It's very easy, honestly, like, a lot of the times the why could be something as simple as, I'm doing it for the guy next to me, right? I don't want to let him down. When you get out, you might still have that same, I'm doing it for that person next to me, but guess what? 99% of the time, if that person is not in the military, they ain't doing it for you. And so finding that why of why you're doing whatever it is you're doing after the military is very crucial.
Give you purpose.
Yeah, what is your purpose? You know, and a lot of people, that's why a lot of people in a lot of veterans get back into being a cop. They go into healthcare, they go whatever it may be, they volunteer their time because their jobs might not have that fulfillment, you know. And so instead of instead of feeding into the civilian way of thinking of things, as a veteran, learn to leverage that, because as a veteran, as or in the military, you have a big heart. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, to want to serve somebody, you have to have a big heart to want to do that. And you got to use that as a leverage, because generally when you have that, you have passion for whatever it is you're doing. You have passion. And I guarantee you, that person next to you who's a civilian doesn't have that. Not the way we do. Um, and they might, but that's very rare. At least that's from what I've seen. So
Yeah, but the cool thing about having that passion is when you do that, when you come from that space, your energy is different. And guess what? Energy is contagious. So the beer that he's drinking and the vibes that he's feeling is being passed on to me, which is hopefully being passed on to you guys. And that energy is contagious. So even if you have that passion, when you have that passion, you're working next to that person who doesn't have that energy, you're going to give them some of that. And it's going to make whatever you're doing the better, and it's going to improve the people that you're around too. So it's just it's a great thing to have.
yeah, and that all goes back to mindset. That all goes back to what are you telling yourself when you wake up in the morning? You know, like how you view yourself. I would almost say almost 100% directly affects how your day's going to be. It's like when you in the middle of the night you stub your toe, right? You stub your toe and you're cursing up and down, like. And from if you're like me, you try to kick the bed again and you hurt your other toe. I've done that a couple times, and then the next morning you're just pissed off, you know. And then as that as you know, you wake up and then it starts compounding. Then, like, you know, you show up late or you get in a car accident or your boss tells you like you're screwed up, and it just compounds, right? So um it's all about mindset, it's all about outlook. Like, you're more, again, I say it all the time, I know LaPrentiss says it all the time, like, you're more than your service, you're more than what you probably think you are. And you know, that's why we built this channel, why we want to get this out there, because we want to share with you guys um that you have so much potential. You know, it is so much potential to be whatever it is really you want to be. You know, from a guy who grew up in the Philippines, in a third world country, and joined the military because people said he couldn't. You know, and now I own a business. I work in a nuclear power plant, and I just started this YouTube channel, and I'm, you know, starting a filmmaking, a cinematography business, to another guy who was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, and is now, am I right?
Kansas, not your Kansas.
Huh?
Arkansas, not your Kansas.
Oh, I'm sorry. Arkansas. And moved to Hawaii and joined because he thought there was Popeyes on every street corner and every base in U.S. Air Force Base, and now owns a business, right? And owns a business, and is spreading basically all this love, you know, all this love to people you know, he doesn't know. Like, it's contagious, and there's more to you. Again, I can't overstate it enough. There's more to you than your service, and you got to discover. You got to find that. I think I speak for Prentice when I say that we want to help you do that. You know, and it's, dude, this is only episode 3, but episode 4 is going to be kind of fun. Episode 5, we're going to start diving into like skills, right? Episode 4, I think, is taps. You know, you guys could probably, I've been out since 2011, so it's been a little bit for me. LaPrentiss is
I haven't even done it yet. I'm not even
hasn't
gonna
even done it, so
lie.
he'll probably be useless the whole time. um, and you know, so in episode 6, we're gonna look at, like, if you're out and you're retired, we're gonna probably start talking to you a little bit. So a lot of fun things coming up, and we hope you love what we're talking about. We hope you're getting value out of this. I really appreciate LaPrentiss sharing your story, man. That's an incredible story, especially going from basically making a career-ending move and and sliding through that and basically making it through. And the important lesson to that is is that people recognize value when you give it, and are willing to basically stand up for it, because everybody makes mistakes. So, yeah, guys, if you like what you saw and you heard and like hanging out with us, we'd love for you to keep hanging out with us. Hit that like
Let me know in the comments. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this story, if you resonate with it. Any other questions you have, or just find me on Facebook. I'm down to chat and talk and share my experience.
So go ahead. Yeah. Now that you brought that up, how do we find you, Mr. Myth Legend?
Just look me up on Facebook, man. LaPrentiss Sampson. I think that's what I have it as. I gotta double check and make sure.
Well, while he's double checking, I'm Julian Hernandez. Obviously, find me on Facebook as well. Make sure there is no I in my first name. Okay. Take it up with my mom. I don't care. All right. But it's pronounced with an I. There is no I. So there you go. And find my business page, Julian P. Hernandez. And also in the comments too, like if you guys have something you guys want us to talk about or just bullshit about for the next, on a future episode, please put it down there. We're always looking for new content to talk about, because really at the end of the day, this channel is for you guys, for the veterans out there, for anybody who is in the military and thinking about what's next. So, again, LaPrentiss, how do we find you? Facebook?
LaPrentiss, yeah, this is my full name, LaPrentiss Sampson.
Okay, perfect. And so, guys, this concludes episode Trace 3. I know, dang, magic number 3, prime number, right? It's a good number.
So, yeah,
3's prime number. I've taken that from the movie Stealth, right? We're not, when they talk about 3s. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna stop being corny. All right, guys, y'all have a good night. See you guys. We hope to see you guys soon. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and talk to you guys later.
Yep. Chat with you later.